Hello, this is Dr. Victoria Skirbo speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. And today we're going to do the Kabbalah and Numerology of my Senator, Elizabeth Warren. Just so you know, I did vote for her and I was happy that she won. So there is a little bit of bias on my end, but I'll try to keep this as unbiased as possible. Numerology and Kabbalah is a way of evaluating a person's energetic blueprint. So is astrology, and what you can do is you can combine those things. So the first thing I want to do today is I want to talk about her numerology, and then we'll talk about her tree of life, and then her divine triangle. And then in the next video we can go a little bit deeper into her astrology and try to connect all of these together. Luckily, we do have a time of birth for Elizabeth Warren, so her chart will be accurate. And this is exciting, so we'll get started in a moment. Okay, hello, we're back. So this is the numerology of Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren was born Elizabeth Ann Herring. That's her maiden name. She was born on the 22nd of June, 1959 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. If we look at her name and we take out the vowels, we come up with her soul vibration. Remember, the soul vibration is the inner feminine. It's the part that she keeps very close to her heart or her soul. This is sort of what drives the bus for her. And then we have the quiescent, which is the outer personality. So this is the outer side, the side that she puts out there. It's the male side. It's also talents and abilities that she brings back from past lives. So these are her talents and abilities. And then we have the expression number, which is when you add the soul, which is the vowels, and the quiescent, which is the consonants. This is the vibration of the whole name. Okay, and so let's talk a little bit about each one of these numbers. Now, her soul vibration, the inner feminine, 35/8, is associated with the sign of Sagittarius. And above all, Sagittarius is the truth seeker. And so for her, truth is really, or the seeking out for truth is really what's closest to her. And if we look at the card associated with this particular card, with this particular vibration, we have the Nine of Wands. And here we have somebody who has the wand in their hand. There's 8 wands behind him. He's a little bit injured, but he's willing to continue to fight. And so this is somebody who truly fights for what is right, or fights for their beliefs. Okay? One of her beliefs, of course, because she has an 8 as the base number, is that you have to be responsible for yourself. Okay? So irresponsibility would drive this woman crazy. And she has a soul vibration as an 8, and she has an outer personality vibration that's an 8. So this is a double 8, and double 8s tend to really, I'm going to turn a light on, see if this is a little bit better. Hopefully that helps. Double 8s are really super responsible people. And they're responsible because responsible, self-reliant, and they know that what they do will come back to them. So they try, in the best cases, they will, if they're awake, they will do good. Otherwise, they get slanted pretty hard. Okay, and so we have this 35/8. The 35/8 is Sagittarius. It's a fire vibration. Okay, so deep within her, there's a fiery core. The outer personality, the 71/8 vibration, is associated with this card. Okay, this is the Queen of Pentacles. And so this is her outer personality, so she comes across as queenly. Okay, she has a regalness to her. She has a sense of purpose. She has a sense that she's in charge, as a queen will be. And you can see in this card that the queen is holding the pentacle, and there's a sense of understanding the value of things. Pentacles is about money, so understanding the value of money. Okay, And she was a lawyer. She was a lawyer and then a law professor, dealing mostly with bankruptcy. And then once she moved into politics, she went into the consumer advocacy. And so here is somebody who understands how hard people have to work for their money, and that it needs to be protected. So we can see that in her chart as well. And then when you add both those vibrations up, you get the 16-7 vibration, which in the tarot deck is the Tower card. Okay, the Tower card. If you remember when I did Donald Trump's numbers, this was his soul vibration. Okay, so this is her expression and Donald Trump's soul. And so she is not afraid to express herself toward him. In fact, the 7 is really about coming from your true self. And so she can only be who she is. She can only be her true self. If she's not her true self, then she will have problems. The tower will fall for her. So it's important that she stays in alignment with her own core. And her core is one of truth and one of understanding how hard it is for people to make it through life and to protect that. So at her core, she is really a champion for the people, really, and that is her history anyway. She was in a middle to lower middle class family who had a lot of financial difficulties because her father got ill when she was young, and so she understands what it means to want. She understands how hard you have to work for your money, and that you need to be integritous with all of that. So we definitely see that in her. Okay, so those are her soul and her quiescent and her expression vibrations. Next thing we're going to talk about is her life lesson and her shadow. We'll be right back with that. Okay, so I'm going to put this light on, see if it helps. Okay. So we're going to talk about her path of life and her shadow vibration. Now, the path of life, or the life lesson, which is here, is the date of birth added up. And here we have somebody born June 22nd, 1949. What's significant about just this date alone, is that the 22nd, okay, a 22 vibration, is Master Spiritual Builder. And so she has come in to build something. If you happen to have a 22 as one of your major numbers, then you too have come in to build something. And so if we add the 6 and the 22 together, we get 28. And then if we add 1949 together, we get a 23. And when we then add 28 and 23 together, we get a 51. 6 vibration. And 6 as a base number is the number of responsibility. And so she has come in this lifetime. Her lessons are around the idea of responsibility, and where your responsibility lies, and in certain cases where your responsibility doesn't lie. 6 is also the number of commitment and service to the community, and so she has come in to be of service to the community. Now, this particular number is associated with the King of Swords, actually, and as soon as I find it in my deck, I will pull it up. Okay, so this is the card associated with that particular number, the King of Swords. And so she has come in to learn how to be discerning, how to make a decision. Swords are about the mind, and so she's come in to learn how to be mindful and decisive. And the King of Swords is somebody who's in charge, so she's come in to learn how to be in charge. And so that is her path of life. These are some of the issues that she will be dealing with. This particular card is associated with the sign of Libra. Okay. And so Libra rules law. So she picked the perfect career. And oftentimes we will see that our life lesson is right in alignment with the careers that we choose. So that is her path of life. And we're going to look at all these numbers and how they interact with the tree of life. And the next thing I want to talk about is her shadow vibration. And so if we come down here, we get the shadow vibration by adding up the all the letters in her first name, Elizabeth. Elizabeth vibrates to a 43, 7 vibration. That 7 vibration is somebody who knows themselves. Okay, and then her day of birth, which we said was the 22nd. When we add 43 and 22 together, we get a 65, 11 vibration. So her shadow vibration is actually an 11. It's a master number. So she has master numbers in her chart. Now, the shadow vibration is the vibration that we've come in to heal. And this is the card associated with that particular vibration. The King of Pentacles. And so when she was a young girl, her father suffered a heart attack that brought her family to the edge of financial ruin. This particular card is associated with finances and being a king of your finances. And so, and it's an 11. So it's a master number, as I said before. And so you're held to a higher standard with this vibration. And so as a shadow vibration, there's a couple of things I want to say about this card and this vibration. So somebody who is so the kings are always associated with males, men, right? Father figures. And so the 6511 is somebody who has a good hold of their resources and their finances. Okay? And so somebody, so she would strive to foster that. But the 11 is about compromise, and so she might have somewhat of a, I'm going to put this down because my arm is falling off. She might have a little difficulty with compromise. Okay, so if there's anything that this could create in her, and what the lack of compromise can actually blind her to the way forward. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is how these particular numbers line up on her tree of life, and this is, you're going to find very, very interesting. I'll be right back. Okay, so here we have the tree of life. This is Elizabeth Warren's tree of life, and so we'll take notice that wherever there is yellow highlighter is where she has her major numbers. And so we have a major number here, we have 2 major numbers here, we have a major number here, and a major number here. Now, we have her soul vibration right here, the 35/8. Remember, that is the vibration associated with Sagittarius, the truth seeker. It's her soul, it's her inner core. And it is associated with this card here. Okay? Now this particular vibration is found in the sacral chakra. Okay? This is our belly chakra, right? The fire in the belly. The sacral chakra is associated with emotional intelligence. It's associated with sex, money, and power. This is a place where it's important to have healthy boundaries, okay, in this place. And so she has a real sense of a real sense of self here, okay, with this 8 here. And of course, money is a big theme in her life, okay? And this really is about having healthy boundaries around money. And she does, she wants to reinstitute Glass-Steagall, and this is seen there, where, banks can't use hard-earned money of their customers to throw the dice, have it be a crapshoot for them. Somebody who has a number in here wants more guarantees than that, and that's a soul deep experience. So she has energy in her sacral chakra, so she does go by her gut. And then if we look at her outer personality, or her quiescent vibration, which, if we remember, was is up here, okay, and this is Bina. This black circle is Bina. Bina is associated with the divine feminine, and this is where we find the queens. And you can see we have the queen right here, the Queen of Pentacles. This is her outer personality. And so she, when you have something in Bina, being born a woman is very important. It's a very important part of your journey. It's that you understand that as a woman, you are not given the same rights and privileges, at least in this culture, in this patriarchal system. And Hillary Clinton had a lot of numbers in Bina as well. And it will be interesting to see if, in fact, she does run in 2020, Elizabeth Warren, that is, if she does have a chance to become the first female president. That would be very significant, having a number there, especially the number of the Queen and the 8, where we have somebody who's very, very responsible. So, and that is her quiescent. Your quiescents are your talents and abilities, so she would be a very good queen. And then if we go over here, we have the life lesson, and we also have the shadow. Now the life lesson is the 51-6 vibration, and that is this card here. Okay. And this is masculine, it's the king. And so she's learning about how to be kingly. She knows how to be queenly, but she's learning how to be kingly. And how to make decisions. And how to have dominion. Okay? And of course we have that base number of 6, so it's responsibility. It's being responsible to the collective, being responsible to the realm. But we also have her shadow in here, which is this card right here. Okay? And we have the 65/11 vibration. So there's two kings here. One she is learning and one she is healing. Okay? The fact that she has a queen and 2 kings says that this is somebody who can wield much power. And when you have planets in the top triangle here, this is called the supernal triangle, or the triangle of spirit, you usually have some significance in the world, but when you make a mistake, things can get really bad. It's very public. It's in a way, a very public place. It's also very difficult to be in relationship when you have a lot of numbers up here, because you take your relationship so seriously, and there's like a higher purpose to them. All right, and so here we have divine feminine, divine masculine. If she has an issue, it's with the divine masculine, or with the masculine. And so she has to learn how to function, not only function well in a man's world, but she also has to not be wounded through that experience. That was a truck going down the highway, right? That's such a manly thing. And the other thing is that this particular area is associated with the third eye. And so she is very intuitive, but she can be blinded through her wounds. So she has to learn how to compromise to a certain extent. But she functions mainly through her intuition, which I believe is very acute. And then we have her expression number. And that is the 16 right here. And this is in her solar plexus. Okay, we remember this card, sorry. 16. And so she really does need, this is where she finds her balance. And she finds her balance through expressing of her personal will. But her personal will really is connected to a more divine source. And so here we have somebody who's actually quite balanced, in that she has numbers up through the middle here with this, her soul here and her expression sort of bridging both sides of the tree, and then she has this up here, her quiescent, her life lesson, and her shadow. And so she's quite balanced in her major numbers here. And I think she could actually be quite a good president if she chooses to go in that direction. The next thing we're going to talk about is her divine triangle, which we can talk a little bit more about her biography there. Have yourself, I'll be right back. Sorry, I'll be right back. Okay, so here we have Elizabeth Warren's divine triangle. And just a couple of things to go over with the divine triangle. This here is called, every line here is a 9-year line, okay? And we start here at 0 to 9 years old, 9 years to 18, 18 to 27. And then we take the person's first name and second name and put it around the the configuration. So her first 9 years of life came in on a 5 vibration, because E is equal to 5. And then from 9 to 18 she was on a 12-3 vibration, and then from 18 to 27 she was on a 9 vibration, etc., etc. And then we take her day of birth, which is June. We put the month here, we put the day here, 22nd, and then the year 1949, which comes to a 23 here. This first square is called the youth square, and it runs from age 0 to 27. It is associated with the first 27 years of life. This is pre-Saturn return, and we're generally dealing with karma from the last life, and they usually come in through our interactions with our family. And so the first 27 years of life, we're kind of like tidying up our karma. And then we move into the power square. We start with the power square, and the power square is the next 27 years of life. And this goes from age 27 to age 54. And it's at this time that we apply ourselves to society, and we create our power, or the structure of our power, or what we can sort of base our life on earth on. And so we have this 27 years of life. And then the last 27 years of life is called the, of course you can live longer than that, but we're just talking about this. We have from age 54 to age 81, we have something called the wisdom square. Now the youth square is our karma. The power square really determines on how well we move through our karma and build a sense of power, or a sense of structure in our lives. And then the wisdom square is the wisdom we have gleaned through this whole process. And so Elizabeth Warren is, let's see, she's born in 49. She just had her birthday, and she is 60. Oh, how old is she? Oh dear, I should know this. I'll do a little figuring over here. 2017, 1949. So she is 8. So Elizabeth Warren right now is 68 years old. So she's somewhere over here on this line. Okay? So she is definitely in her wisdom square. But I want to talk about her youth square, her power square, and then her wisdom square. So the youth square is vibration is a 32 over 5 vibration, and that is this card in the deck. Okay, can you see that? Sorry about that. Hopefully you can see that. That is the 6 of Wands. So when I see a 5 in the youth square, it usually means that there's some sort of instability. And we know that there was instability in her growing up years, because her father suffered a major heart attack very early in his life that put his family in financial jeopardy. Okay, and so we know that there was upheaval. What's interesting is the 32-5 vibration is connected to Tippereth on the Tree of Life, And so it's the heart chakra, and so that is also a connection. The other thing is that 32 over 5 is one of the major numbers of the United States of America. And so if you have a 32-5 in your chart, you tend to do very well in America. Even if you're not born here, which she was, but even if you're not born here, you will oftentimes do well in this country. But because it's part of the youth square and it's a wounding, she also understands both sides, the success and the other side of success in the country. So that was her first 27 years of life. And then in her next 27 years of life, she endeavored to learn the lesson of 51 over 6, which we can see is her life lesson. And so from 27 to 54, she really pushed herself to learn about responsibility, how to work in a man's world, because we're dealing with the kings here. I mean, she was a law professor. The last place she worked was Harvard, and I'm sure that there weren't too many females in the kind of work that she did, especially with the financial stuff. It's usually, it's usually kind of a man's world. But she certainly has applied herself. And so we know that she has worked on this vibration, this 6th vibration, being very responsible. This is the King of Swords. Okay? That is the King of Swords. All right. And then she goes into her power square, her wisdom square. What's interesting is that she moved into the second arm of her wisdom square when she was 63 years old. When she was 63 years old, she was elected to the Senate from the state of Massachusetts. So in 2012, she started this line. Okay, so now she is on a 9-year period where she's on a 20 over 2 vibration, and the 20 over 2 vibration is the vibration of the awakened soul. And hopefully I can quickly find the card associated with this vibration. And here it is. This is her 9-year cycle. It's the Judgment card. Now, I'll give you a little bit of information from my experience with the Judgment card. I was on this line from age 27 to 36 years old, and it was during this time that I really awakened to my power. And when I say awaken to my power, I don't mean, that I was master of the universe power, but awaken to the idea that I am more than just a body, and that I have a soul, and that I can access that. This is the angel blowing the trumpet, the clarion call for us to rise up out of the illusion that the only thing that we have is the physical world. And so we connect with our soul, we connect with our higher self in this card. And so hopefully Elizabeth Warren can do that. Now I remember seeing her at the beginning of her political career, and she was very unsure of herself and scared. She was on, what was that, that show, the Daily Show, and she said before she got on, she had to throw up because she was so nervous, and she kept falling over her words. Well, she's certainly gotten over that. And so she continues to move on this 20 over 2 line. And then in 2021, she's going to turn the corner. So in the 2020 election, she will be on this line of the awakened soul. So that'll be very interesting. Right, just a couple more number things I want to go over with you, and then we'll get into her astrology. Okay, so here's just a couple of things I want to look at. September 14th, 2011, she announced that she would be running for the Senate against Scott Brown in the state of Massachusetts. That year, her personal year, that year was a 32 over 5 vibration. See, 6 plus 22 plus 4. 2011 is a 4-year, vibrated to a 4. And so we add that universal year to her month and day of birth, and we get her personal year. That 32 over 5 connects with America. She actually beat the incumbent Scott Brown. that occurred November 6, 2012. If we remember, 2012 is when she moved on to that T line, that 20/2 line. And she was in a 33/6 vibration. That 6 vibration is the vibration of responsibility, and it connects vibrationally with her 51/6 life lesson and her 51/6 power square. Now, if we look to the election of 2018, on election day, she will be in a 39/3 vibration. The 39/3 vibration is the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups is all about inspiration. And so if she wins, and I believe she will come in on a vibration of hope and inspiration. And then in 2020, she's in another 4-year. We add that 6, 22, and 4, and we get the 32/5 vibration. So, she does have a good chance of winning if she runs. So, but a lot of things will happen between then and now, so we'll have to see, when the time comes. I hope you enjoyed this Kabbalistic numerological look into Elizabeth Warren. In the next video, I'll be going over her astrology and connecting it with all of this. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you again soon.